Hello students, in today's lecture we will take up yet another two C programming practical questions. Both of these questions are based on loops. The first question, as you can read, is to calculate the average of n numbers. Now here n could be any value which is given by the user, and we have to write down the code wherein we will calculate the average of all of these n numbers. For example, if the user enters n as 5, so what we have to do is we have to calculate the average of the first 5 numbers. That is, first of all we will add the numbers between 1 to 5 and then we will have to divide it by the number 5 to calculate the average. So we do this first program. Again here we would be making use of loops. The second question also is based on the same lines. It will be done using the concept of loops. Now before we start executing this particular program, let us understand what do you mean by a loop. Whenever you have to perform a set of operations repeatedly again and again, we put those set of statements inside a loop. Okay, now why do we do this? So that it saves us the overhead of writing the same set of statements again and again numerous number of times. For example, if I have to do something 10 times, rather than writing the same code 10 times, I can put the code inside a loop and automatically I can give a condition for the loop such that after executing the set of statements 10 times, the loop will end on its own. So such is the concept of loops. As we know, there are three different types of loops: for loop, while loop and do while. So let us start with the first question wherein we will calculate the average of n numbers. Again, we use the Turbo C software. We select a new blank file. We maximize the file. Let us begin with the comment. So we write the comment as program to calculate average of n numbers. Right? Let us include the necessary header files. We begin with the void main function. Now, within void main, the first thing that we will do is we will have to declare the necessary variables. Now in this program, let us find out how many variables do we require. First of all, we need a variable to store the value of n, which will be given by the user. We will need one variable which will act as the loop counter, one variable which will store the sum of numbers between 1 to n, and another variable which will store the final average. Now since average is calculated by dividing the sum, it could be possible that the value of average may be a decimal number. Similarly, the value of n could be anything given by the user. And when I add up the sum, it may go beyond the limit or the range for integers. So what we would prefer in this program is we can declare the loop counter as well as the number n as integers. But for sum and average, I'll use the data type as float. So let us declare the variables n for the number as well as I for the loop counter. Similarly, float the sum as well as the average. Let's clear the screen. Now, in printf, we print a message to the user asking him to enter a number. In the scanf statement, we will accept the number using the format specifier as %d. Whatever number is entered by the user, we store it in the variable n. Next, we have to calculate the sum. Before we calculate the average, we have to first calculate the sum of all numbers from 1 till n. So let's say in this case we use a for loop. We initialize I to the value of 1. I should be less than equal to n. I plus plus. Now a simple statement to calculate the sum, where we say sum is equals to sum plus I. Now when I write the statement, before that, one important thing that we need to do is we have to initialize sum to the value 0. Because in C, when you create variables, initially these variables store certain garbage values, okay, values which could be discarded. So in that case, since these are garbage values, when I write a statement such as sum is equals to sum plus I, whatever garbage value is existing in the variable sum, the value of I will be automatically added to it. So what we do is we first initialize sum to the value of 0, and then in the for loop, in each iteration, we keep adding the value of I to sum. Initially the value of sum is 0, so it will be 0 plus 1. In the next iteration it would be 1 plus 2. In the third iteration it will be 3 plus the number 3, that is 6. Like that the sum will be calculated. Now for the average is equals to nothing but sum divided by the number n. So this gives us the average. Now let us print the result to the user. We want the answer on a new line, so /n. The average of all numbers is, since the data type of the average variable is float, for that reason we will use the format specifier as %f and not %d. Display the value of average outside, and of course the getch statement to accept a character. Well, this completes the program. Okay, we have written the logic for calculating the average. Let us check the program by dry run or by executing the program and checking the output. Before we execute, we need to save the program. For saving, you need to press F2. Okay, now right now I'm saving my file in the default folder, which is tcbin folder. I'll remove the pp extension, it has to be .c. Let us give the name as average.c. Now let's compile the code. 0 errors. Let us run the program. Enter a number. Suppose if I enter the number as 4. The average of all numbers is 2.5. Now let's check whether the answer is correct or not. The first thing that we do is we add all the numbers between 1 to 4. So 1 plus 2 makes it 3. 3 plus 3 makes it 6. 6 plus 4 makes it 10. 10 divided by 4, the answer is 2.5. So our answer is very much correct. You can check the program again by another value that you could put. Let's say we enter the number as 5. The average is 3. Let's check how. 1 plus 2 gives 3. 3 plus 3 gives 6. 6 plus 4 is 10. 10 plus 5 is 15. 15 divided by 5, the answer is 3. So your program is working absolutely correct. Let us once again go through the entire program and understand it very well. We start with the comment. It is a program to calculate the average of n numbers. Now we need the two header files, which is conio.h and stdio.h. These are our header files which store the library functions that are used in the program or which are inbuilt in your C language. Then you start with void main. Void main is a function which compulsorily has to be in every program of C that we write. We can have other user defined functions, but the execution of any program starts and ends with void main. Now in void main, the first thing that we do is we declare the necessary variables. The first variables are n, which is the number, and I, which will act as a loop counter. The data type is integer. Apart from that, I have a variable sum, which will store the sum of all the numbers between 1 till n. Now, n could be any value. In case if it is a large number, then the sum could go beyond the range limit for integers. The range limit for integers is only up till 32,000. So in this case, when I declare the variable sum as float, I am ensuring that whatever value is given by the user, the sum will be calculated accordingly and stored in the necessary variable. We initialize sum to the value 0 so that if there is any garbage value inside the variable sum, that could be erased. Next, we ask the user to enter a number. Now, whatever number the user enters, we will create a for loop which will begin from 1 and go up till the number n. At every step, you will add the value of I to the value of sum. Outside the loop, average is equal to the sum divided by the total number of numbers, that is n. The same thing we print to the user and get ch to accept characters. So with this, we have successfully completed the first program wherein we are calculating the average of n numbers. We have also compiled as well as we have executed the code and also seen that the output is absolutely correct.